I don't know why, but you are watching the Madness Comic Network. Are you mental?
What happened? Can you guys hear me? I can't see anything. I have a black screen. Anybody? What the heck? Rick, can you hear me? Anybody? What happened?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear
StreamYard.
you.
Okay, StreamYard just blinked on me, man, and I had a black screen. I had nothing. That was weird. And it was just StreamYard because my laptop and everything else over there on the left is doing fine, and that's what's running everything. Sorry, people. I'm going to go back to playing these ads.
It's Flip City Magazine, The Parodies, Special Edition, with savage send-ups of The Walking Dead, Star Trek Picard, Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy, and more from the first 4 years of Flip City. Get Flip City The Parodies free when you subscribe in print at flipcitymag.com. The world's best satire magazine, and never, ever woke.
Cat and mouse vipers. Giant child-snatching vipers are terrorizing New Orleans, pulling children from their homes in the middle of the night in their eagerness to take on human trafficking in the city. Cat and mouse find themselves in the thick of it. Crime, action, drama, with a smattering of superheroics. Now, like Roland Mann said, our head honcho here at Silverline, go do some backing, and we appreciate your support.
Hey, yo. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What's Your Issue? Today, we are going to be handing the podium off to our we got a couple new co-hosts up around here on a couple different shows. Y'all know Jonathan. You might recognize him from the Thursday morning Slaughterville stream. It's Dallas McJockster.
Dallas McJockster. What's up, my man? How you doing, Pops?
It's all action, brother. I'm looking forward to this one. I got to talk to Rick the other day on the Comic Artist Hour with Les, and I'm gonna let you interview him.
Heck yeah.
So everybody, be nice to our new co-host. We're throwing him to the wolves right now, and he is going to be interviewing Mr. Rick Molchan. Rick Molchan, what's up, man? Good to see
How's
you.
it going, Jonathan? How's it going, Pops?
Fantastic, Rick. How are you doing?
Good, good. Making it through another day. Always living.
It's ugly.
Awesome. It's
Anyway, are you saying I'm ugly? That hurt my feelings,
No.
Pops.
You know what this means, right? This means you gotta love yourself, bro.
All right, I love it. I dig that.
No, that's a
welcome to
comic
What's Your
creator.
Issue.
That was one of the first comic creators that I promoted a long time ago, man. And this shirt has held up really well. Like I've had this thing for like 5 years, man. And
So can I send you my Paradox shirt?
Huh?
It's almost
Can I
like
send
it's
you my
universal.
Paradox shirt and you wear it?
I wear it all the time.
No, can I send you my Paradox shirt? Remember the joke the other day?
Oh yeah, I'd wear it. I wear my Ray Kell shirt that I got from Doran Corkum from his comic book. I wear my Fund My Comic shirt. When I go to the cons, it's hard to decide what I'm going to do because I only go for one day and just do the press thing. I just got a brand new Meg TV golf shirt with our logo, and it's a nice. I'm wearing that tomorrow. I have to promote ourselves sometimes too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, everybody, Rick is man. He's hooked up with Les. That's all I gotta say, right? That's everybody has a connection to the madness somewhere in their group, in their crowd of people. That's how we met you, was through Les.
Hey, thank you very much for inviting me.
Look, this is what we do. We love to promote stuff, and I already talked to you about doing a launch party for you too, right?
Yes.
So pay attention to what this man has to say because we're gonna be launching this one right here on the network.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna get out the way, put myself down here. You two
All right.
go talk. All right.
Welcome to the madness, Rick. How you doing?
Good, Jonathan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man. What is your product? What I heard it's a comic book. What are you working on right now?
So I'm an introvert. I don't talk very much. So you might have to pull a lot of stuff out of me. That's a total joke because I'll talk too much. And at one point, you'll need to tell me to shut up. Okay.
Okay.
So Paradox Reckonings, a little bit about it. It's a fantasy meets reality kind of story set in hell. It's kind of a Dante's Inferno story.
Okay.
Hold it. I'll have to change my avatar if you're going to be talking about Dante.
Wait, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Oh,
It's great.
Dante.
It's great.
This is Dante. Dante's Inferno is my RPG character in the Slaughterville game. And Jonathan just started playing with us just a couple weeks ago. It's like, dude, we have so much fun. But yeah, whenever somebody mentions Dante's Inferno, I'm like, that's me.
Well, this looks like a very happy Dante right there. My Dante is not as happy.
Yeah, he's an old stoner. I mean, he's hanging out in Slaughterville, so it's not all fun and games. I mean, but yeah, look, we'll send you the playlist to that. You can watch a couple episodes of us playing Slaughterville, and you might want to join us.
You should. It's a blast.
Like I need another game to play and something else to do.
Yeah.
Pops, you were already bragging the other day about how I thought I never slept. I thought I slept like 6 hours a night, and that was a lot. And you're basically never sleeping. So I don't know.
It's not my choice.
But yeah, Paradox is a fantasy kind of meets reality story. I use Dante's Inferno kind of as it's not anything to do with Dante. I'm saying it's like a Dante's journey through hell. So this comic is coming out, and we have the tour book which will be released actually at Heroes Con. Very excited about that. It's going to have part of the Paradox story in it. It's going to have part of the Oz story, which will be coming out in a couple more months. And then it actually has 2 new stories that support both of those that are in our comic book universe. So super excited about that. Our launch will probably happen mid-May, but so Paradox is our flagship comic book by me. Then we also, like I said, have the Oz book that's coming out by me as well. Then my cousin, who actually is part of this whole thing, he's got a couple books that are coming out right after that as well. So it's comic books. Like I said, fantasy meets reality. It's a little dark, probably not for kids, a little deep sometimes, unlike some of my other stories, but it's a story I wanted to tell.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. So in the process, so you're the writer as well. And who was your artist? Who were you working with?
So on Paradox, I actually have 2 artists that have done work in Paradox. I'm talking about interiors, of course. Les Garner, Apocalypse Girl fame, The Bride stuff that's coming out now. The other artist was my original artist, Eric Treadaway. A lot of people don't realize that they actually know that guy. He went to work for McFarlane Toys, made some of the biggest toys that they had. He actually is now one of the owners of the Four Horsemen Toy Company. If you don't know anything about them, if you look up the Mythos toy line, he's actually invented almost every one of those toys, sculpted it, molded it, and produced it. And it's all awesome, beautiful stuff. So in my world, I have this perception that I've got some awesome talent. I mean, Les is awesome. I think he's about to explode on the scene. And I've got probably one of the greatest toy makers that has drawn a bunch of stuff that's also a part of it. So to have that, and then I get we have a lot of cover artists like Jay Lee, which is the cover that you guys are showing right there. Honestly, if you look at it closely, I think it may be the best Jay Lee piece that you will ever see. And if you look at it closely, there are images, there's things in the background that most people aren't catching. It is a beautiful, beautiful cover. It's just amazing. And of course, that's my character War is the center of that, one of the Four Horsemen. We also have Inhook Lee. One of the cool things I get to brag about is I have a cover by Drew Hayes, who is known from Poison Ales and I, Lucifer. The guy was an amazing talent. He died several years ago. He actually did a cover for me many years ago when I was thinking about redoing this, and I never got to show it or release it or anything like that. And I'm going to actually run a cover by him that nobody has ever seen before. And another guy that a lot of people know from Lady Death days, Stephen Hughes. So that's really exciting for some covers. But like I said, this is Jay Lee's cover that he did for us toward the end of last year. I've actually got 2 other Jay Lee covers that will be coming out, but this cover, I love it. It's an amazing cover. So
It absolutely is. And I see what you're talking about now as I'm looking into the cape, starting to see bodies, and like there are forms within the forms. It's actually quite a beautiful piece of work there.
I'll have people look at this piece and it's like, yeah, that's cool. And they walk on by. And if you look at it for 1 second, I know you didn't look at it, because it's like, yeah, it does look cool. And Jay and I had lots of conversations about this piece, and he was wanting to come up with something really cool. You know, Jay's known for so much stuff. And if you've looked at Jay's stuff over the years, he has changed so much. I mean, the guy was brilliant back in the early 90s. He's even more brilliant now with his style. So we were talking about, I said, Jay, I want to go back to the Hell Shock kind of style. I want that kind of look. I want you to really beat that to death. He's like, that's a lot of stuff in it. I'm like, that's what I want. And Jay actually struggled with this piece originally. He's like, I want to make it really cool. And he kept working and working hard. And then when he sent me the pencils of it, and you catch it in the pencils, you don't always catch it in the colors. I saw all the stuff that was in it. I was like, this is an awesome piece, man. And then when I show it to people that love art or a Jay Lee fan or things like that, and they look at it closely, they're like, this is the best piece I've ever seen that guy do. And it is. Not that most of his pieces aren't awesome. This piece is really, really good, though. Super happy.
It is quite amazing. So you were mentioning that this was a story that you really wanted to tell. I want to know more about that. Like, what was it that inspired you? What was it that made you want to tell this story in the first place?
So, I was a geeky little boy that read comic books, loved comics. I was always fascinated with Sumerian lore. I was always fascinated with Catholicism. Those always had very deep, meaningful things I could connect with, if you will. Scary stories and horror stories have always been a fun thing to read and to enjoy. And I thought, wonder if I can put, and this will be where I'm revealing this right here. Wonder if I could put a love story in a true horror story, a true love story in a true horror story. And so I came. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just said interesting. Sorry.
Yeah. So I started writing the story, and I was trying to figure out how to make it work. And I was also, a lot of people have said, hey, my character kind of reminds me of Sandman. I'm like, gosh, you all have missed it because I've really screwed up. He's actually a takeoff of more like Vampire Lestat, Armand, if you've ever read those series and seen the movies and stuff. I was always thought Armand was this cool character, and Anne Rice had done such a marvelous job with him. And I thought, let me do a story then that was based on a guy. Hey, we're all guys. We all screw up in relationships and stuff like that. That he decides he wants to right his wrongs. He's messed up a relationship, and he has to go to hell. That's the paradox, because instead of going to heaven to ask for forgiveness, he has to go to hell. Now, why he has to go to hell, that's part of the story versus heaven. But he has to go and figure this out, how to make amends, how to make things better. But the funny thing is, the story actually evolved, and this is what most people are learning now that will be reading it. That is merely a backdrop of what's really going on. There's a race of incessants. They were created on the first minute of the first day by him, which is alluded to be God. And this incessants are kind of like the angels that sit on your shoulders. They're not really angels that sit on your shoulders, but the one that says, eat this, don't eat this, do good, don't do good, kind of that, the good and the bad, if you will. So they affect mankind, and they help mankind make free will decisions, because that's the thing that sets us apart. We're supposed to have free will. And so the decision was, I had this wonderful woman, and her name is Order. And then I have this evil woman, her name is Deceit. Order is as good can be. She is what you'd want your daughters to be. She's what your wives would be. She dutiful and wonderful. Deceit would be the exact opposite. Here, I'll show you a little bit of Deceit. Got a little statue, by the way, from Les that he just recently did that we've got. So that's the bad girl, Deceit, if you will. And the reason she's got a snake is she was the first serpent in the garden. And that's where she comes from. So she was the first serpent in the garden. She's the one that tempted Adam in the garden, if you will. Well, anyway, what I wanted to do was do a story that actually kind of did a 180. As we meet people, as we talk to people, as we have relationships, as we deal with things, how do we change? How do we change the people that we meet? How do the people that we meet change us? Obviously, emotions are some of the strongest things that could ever change how we think about things, how we do things. And that's where Order and Deceit come in. Order actually does have an opposing duality, incessant mayhem, her evil brother. Deceit's actually the child of the devil, because obviously she's very deceitful, very evil. Once again, she was the first serpent in the garden. She's going to be evil. The cool thing is, by the end of the story, both characters have done transformations that should take the reader on a great journey. And like I said, I've used these two stories, and this is what I've always wanted to do, use these two stories, change these beautiful, strong women, one super evil, one super good, and make them change and how they changed people throughout the course of their journeys. And Paradox just happens to be the backdrop of all of that and his journey to hell. So, long story.
Oh,
how'd you think?
Yeah. How long are you? So this is the first issue. How long are you planning to? How many issues are you planning to put out?
7,845. 7,845 is what we're planning. No, total joke. This is actually,
you have a lot of time. No, I'm joking.
no,
Or not a lot.
It's a 6-issue arc series. The Paradox Reckonings is we throw a lot in. It's a little bit different than some of your other comics. While I grew up loving Silver Surfer, Daredevil, things like that, there's a lot of words on the page. I'm going to be honest, but there's a lot of beautiful artwork on the page. When you're talking about Les and Eric, and then I've got so many other great people that are involved. But we make sure that we establish the characters and we get this story going. We leave it open at the end of issue 6. I mean, we wrap everything up and everybody's journey and stuff like that, but we leave it open so that we can jump on to the next 6-issue series, which is great. But I'm trying to do them in 6-issue arcs because I feel like that's kind of interesting to me. That's how I always like to read comics. Go about 6 issues, and I need it to be wrapped up, end it, and take me somewhere else, if you will. So it's only 6 issues, but there's a lot that's going on in those 6 issues. There really is. And I'm big into, Jay Lee's piece is a great example. There's things going on that if you don't catch it, if you don't see it in the cape and you don't see it in the background, you're not going to get lost. You're still going to think, hey, that's pretty cool. And that's what I wanted to do with my story. And that's kind of the Jay Lee thing. It's like, it's okay if they miss it. I don't care that they catch it. The people that catch it, it's kind of like the Easter egg. It's like, oh, I really get this. That's awesome. I'm into that. But the people that don't catch it, as long as they're not lost and they still have a journey to go in the story and enjoy it and have fun, then I win. That's what I want to do.
All right. So, like, as a creative, what was it that, I mean, besides being born a creative, because I know we're unique creatures when you're creative, but what inspired you really to get into writing, and particularly like writing comic books and this medium per se?
So probably one of my first jobs in college, I managed a comic book shop. We slung comic books, slung Captain America's, Daredevils, Iron Man, Spider-Man, all that kind of stuff. There was and that's the stuff I read, and I love it, and I still love it. I'll still read all that stuff. There was a comic book shop up the street, had a local legend named Ziggy that worked there. And I walked in one day and he's like, it's great that you read that stuff. He's like, don't you ever read anything a little bit deeper? He's like, are you just really that kind of shallow kind of guy? And I went, but I love this stuff. This is awesome. I loved reading comics as a kid, and I can love reading comics as a college kid kind of thing. And so then he had me start reading some other stuff. Why I Hate Saturn. Anything by Alan Moore, deeper stuff that was drastically different. And I tell you, immediately I got hooked. It's like, wow, comic books can be more than wearing your underwear on the outside of your uniform and saving people. And I realized it can mean a lot more as a medium. So because I worked at a comic book shop and I started reading a lot of different stuff that was a lot deeper, I got into wanting to tell stories that were a little bit deeper. Paradox comes from that. Like I said, I didn't want to just write, hey, I'm a guy, I'm going to hell, and I got to go save somebody. That's something I would enjoy reading, but it's not something I generally want to write. I want something to be drastically different. Even my Oz stuff is, and if we talk about it in a second, I'll talk a little bit about it, but I just want it to always be drastically different. So the impetus from all of that was, I changed as a reader what I was reading. And that's why I kind of went to change my characters to grow, to mature, and to find some kind of closure at 180 degrees that's different. I probably loved Archie comics when I was 4 or 5. I don't remember reading them. I probably did. But then you mature and you go to Spider-Man, stuff like that, and Daredevil, which I'm a huge Daredevil fan still. But then all of a sudden I just went to a different level of comic books, and I don't know, I enjoyed reading it, and that was part of the of what sparked me. Then there was a bad relationship that happened during that time. That was the other spark that made this all happen. My cousin Brad knows that one well. He actually throws it in my face all the time. He's like, I know where the story really came from. But and then evolving it through time and stuff like that, and making it part of what my life was and my experiences. Like I said, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and I grew up being a magnet to reading anything about Sumerian or any kind of those ancient legends and lores and gods and Greeks and stuff like that. And those are the kind of games I played, and those were the things I did. And so trying to pull all of that together, I look at Paradox as actually I don't know, a valiant description of me, if you will, and it accomplishes that, which I really like, which is why it is so personal to me. And whereas Oz, I'm doing it to have a lot of fun, Paradox was just something very, very personal that I want to release. And I've been very adamant about making sure that it was done a certain way. Certain characters are done a certain way, certain drawings are done a certain way, certain things are added in the background. I've enjoyed that. That's what's made it fun, because it's just very personal.
Amazing. Yeah, I have to agree that Alan Moore definitely changed my palette at a period of time. I think I read like Swamp Thing and stuff when I was younger and before I could really like appreciate it. But reading that like college age, going back and then reading V for Vendetta, Watchmen, and stuff like that, really, I have to agree. Like it made me respect the medium in a new way, because here I am enjoying this on an intellectual level as opposed to, just the physical, like, oh, wow, look at the pretty pictures,
Well,
So,
and a great point. I just want to hit Alan Moore for a second. When I got a hold of Miracle Man, and then V for Vendetta blew me away, and then I went back and read Watchmen, it's like, holy moly, it's like, this is really cool. You can really get deep into this stuff. And, Alan Moore took you places that you didn't expect to go. So, yeah, there's pretty pictures is what we were initially drawn in by, which is my goal with this. I want to draw people in with the pretty pictures. That's my whole strategy. But it's the story that I want to tell. And, Alan Moore has such a following. He's always going to be able to tell that story. So, and then, of course, I evolved from there from guys like Garth Ennis and Alan Moore and Kyle Baker. I mean, Andrew Vox. I mean, those are awesome guys. So,
yeah, definitely. So you as far as the aesthetic goes, you were talking about how it was inspired by Catholicism and like Gothic. What inspired you to the aesthetic? Like, particularly like in the genres, was there specific horror vibe that you were going for? Like, what really made you want to create the aesthetic the way you did?
So, I got in, I was like you, the Swamp Things were awesome. And the being that was kind of tormented and dark and misunderstood and things like that. So I just never felt like, and like I said, actually everything I'm writing is going to be that, let me think. The 4 next stories I have coming out, I have 3 to 4 other comics that are coming out. All of them have kind of a horror, fantasy meets reality kind of vibe to them. I just always enjoyed it. That's the stuff I liked as a kid. And like I said, I love the Daredevil and the Silver Surfer kind of stuff. But when I got a hold of things like Swamp Thing, it's like, wait a minute. We all go through kind of a darker period, or I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So the end of Empire Strikes Back, this is going to sound like a Clerks bit here in a second. It's like, it ended in such a downer note. And then Kevin Smith made the joke, and Clerks is like, but isn't that life? Sometimes life ends in a downer note, and we've got to wait and see what happens next. So I kind of went with a genre that was a little bit darker and the more horror rich. And it gives you a lot of freedom to get into the fantasy world. Maybe because we played Dungeons and Dragons, kids or older as adults, whatever. But it seemed to open up a lot more doors. And it's funny, the darker side of things is were probably the things that we were protected from as kids, if you will. And I don't know. That's the reason I went down that rabbit hole. It's the genre that I most like. It's going to be the aesthetics. I like the background. It opens up the doors to me being able to do whatever I want to do and actually explore that as an opportunity.
Amazing. What is it that you want the audience to take from this art, from this piece of work? Like, what are you trying to inspire inside of the reader?
That is a great question. I was asked that question differently one time, and it was like we were talking about Oz and Paradox, since those are the first two that are coming out. My answer to Paradox was, you know what? Paradox is a self-actualization thing. I want it for me. It's the issue that I think people will like if you like to read and you want to understand something a little bit different, see something a little bit different, see a crazy story. I think people will enjoy Paradox. But I wrote Paradox for me. Oz, I wrote to be a fun journey. It's going to be a blast. People should have fun with the story and how it switches. So when they walk away from Paradox or Oz, I see it as entertainment for them. When they walk away from Paradox, I'm hoping at the very end, on the last page, without giving too much away, they sit there and say, wow, I get where this is going. I didn't see this coming this way. And I realized that life, kind of like The Empire Strikes Back, is just a little bit different. Sometimes it ends on a downer note, and we've got to be ready for it and be ready for what's next and what can be really cool. So,
all right. Do you have a link to the Oz?
the only thing I've put on Oz thus far, because Oz has not come out, you can obviously go to the website resolutebliss.com.
Okay, that'll work. I just wanted a link to share where people can go check. You know what I'm saying?
I do, and I appreciate that. We're in the third issue of Oz right now, and I'm trying not to promote it too much, but I just talk about it because they both are being released pretty close to each other. Like I said, Paradox actually will be printed and out at the end of June. Oz should be somewhere at the end of August. Once again, I want to make sure that things are actually done and we're not waiting for colorist or art or things like that. I want them to actually be done. So we're taking Oz on a roller coaster. I'll make fun of that just for 1 second. I drive Les nuts. He's like, how does this thing end? I'm like, I know how it ends. I just don't know how we're going to get there yet. We're having a little journey on it. And it drives him nuts. He's like, well, so what's the next issue going to be about? I don't know yet. I just know how it ends, and I'll get there. So Oz is a fun storyline. But Paradox, like I said, when it's totally done, the 6 issues are completely finished. When you turn that last page, you read one line on that last page. I'm hoping the reader walks away is like, holy crap, he's been setting us up kind of all along the way. And that was kind of neat. That was really fun. I get it. He went a lot deeper than we expected. And walk away asking a lot of questions. If my reader walks away asking questions, I'll be super happy. That'll be my goal.
That's absolutely amazing. I love the philosophical aspect, I feel like a lot of media these days is not deep. Like your friend was saying, you're reading these comics that have no substance. And I just feel that way about the television, Netflix, streaming industry in general. Finding things with substance, finding true art. I feel like the true heart is hidden from people these days, and all the commercial art in manufactured art is just shoved down people's throats. So I'm really glad that you're actually creating something of substance that can take read, because I personally love that stuff. It's hard to find. So this show is called What's Your Issue? And we like to talk about your product and everything, but we also we want to focus on like the industry and the creative process. And I just I kind of want to get into that. Like, what is your issue? Not like what is it that in well, I've already asked that question, but basically, as far as industry, as far as a creative process, as far as all this, what is it that's really driving you in the industry? But also, what's your issue?
Well, so that's a great question. I didn't know which way, if you want to go with industry or the creative process of getting something out. But one
I
of the
feel like
things
either or kind of goes.
The wonderful part about the show is that he just handed you the podium, and whatever issue you want to talk about is pretty much the one we're going to hear. Right?
Awesome. I'm going to run with it then. So, I have actually learned a lot in the sense of how the perception of everything is. And let me explain what that is. AI. you see things have drastically changed lately. Artists 25 years ago, everybody penciled and drew on paper. You got these original pieces of art, and as a collector, those were the cool things that kind of got you could frame it, hang it up on your wall. I still have a Matt Wagner Grindel cover on my wall, which I think is one of the coolest things I ever got. Nowadays, everybody does it on tablets. Then you have a whole nother group that is trying to use like AI. And actually, I hired an artist, had him do a piece. Then he got into a little bit of controversy regarding AI. DC had hired him. They ran him through an AI, what are they called? The AI
watchdog thing.
Yeah, whatever they're called. And he came up. He came up like with 95, 96, 97% AI. Now, the piece he had done for me came up as a 42%. Of course, when I started talking to shops, they're like, yeah, but just because he's done that, he's kind of blackballed. You can't deal with that. I was like, but wait a minute, it's a beautiful piece, and I can prove it's an original piece. The irony with that is on the AI piece, I ran through the Mona Lisa, and it came up as a 72% chance that it was faked or AI. I'm sorry. And
we actually had to come out and do a show about that because somebody ran one of Les's pieces and they called it AI, and we had actually had him drawing it live on a previous show. So we got to come out and blow the naysayers out of the water with their bullshit and those AI identifiers with their bullshit at the same time.
I'm going to tell you, I actually know a little bit about this story, and Les may get mad at me for saying this. When that happened, Les called me, and I don't know that I've ever seen a guy, and he's an artist. I mean, he's an artist. He's trying to create things. He's trying to make beautiful pieces. And so it affected him very strongly emotionally. And he called me. He's like, I've never been so down in my life. They're saying I faked this piece. I'm like, well, and I know he doesn't. I know how Les designs and draws and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you got to stand strong and say, I didn't do it, and get off your high horse because you're crazy kind of thing. So, Les actually called me the day that happened, and he's like, I don't want people thinking any of your stuff has been AI. And I'm like, don't worry about it, Les. We're good. I can show them the original stuff, and I'm fine.
We actually kind of went after that con promoter that, we made sure the world knew, bro. Look, I don't play. I protect my people from scammers. I also protect my people from people who claim they are scammers because I get to sit and watch all this stuff come to life. These guys do draw streams on my network. Look, the dude does a draw stream on the network. You can watch him creating the very art that they claimed was a. You see what I'm saying? It's
and
like
I think that's
on
huge.
our network, we could prove it wrong. And it's like, that's one of the benefits to artists for coming out to draw streams and making an appearance every now and then and showing people that you do not AI.
I think that's huge to do, by the way. I think it is. But I will tell you, the only problem with that is, and this is one of the challenges I was having, is I went to a shop, a comic book shop, was talking to the owner, and I said, hey, here's the deal. Here's the original art, because I had the original art. He'd sent me his pencils, okay? I said, here's his piece. Now, he just got blasted by DC Comics. Do you have a problem? He's like, I can't run it. He's like, I can't carry your comic. And I went, but why? I'll even run inside the comic on the inside cover, the original pencils, the original inks, showing you and showing other people that it was original. He's like, the problem is once you're got that stink on you, you got that stink on you, and nobody's going to let it go, if you will. So,
but see, that's just it. They will let it go if they can see you actually doing it live. As a matter of fact, they will call out the bullshit if they actually see you doing it live. Like we saw last, like I said, I jumped immediately and said, hey, you guys are full of shit. I can show you he did that piece live on our network. See, if you have the evidence, the right evidence, and the right people jump in your defense, you can go right past this black ball flag bullshit. And who cares about DC anyway? Who cares
I
what DC thinks? Les is amazing. He don't need DC. DC needs him.
Yeah, they'll be calling him probably in about 6 months right now. I can promise you with all the stuff he's got coming out.
I'm just saying, he doesn't need them. They need him. I mean, they need real good artists. They need that, especially people that can put out pages after page after page after page. They need that. They don't have that right now. They got people that are drawing cartoons.
They do. They do. You're right.
It's different, man. It's not the same. And like you said, they need him more than he needs them.
See, I'm not a fan of this concept of purity tests to create art, because for one, AI is taking art that other people have created and manipulated it in a new way. So obviously, at some point, you know what I'm saying? The AI tester is coming in and it's like, what if the AI was pulling inspiration from this person's art? But it was kind of the point that I made earlier, that true art, like, it gets suppressed while commercial art gets shoved down people's throat. It's kind of like the whole thing, like, let ugly people make music. I think that poor people should create art, and I just don't think that we should create blockages and blackball and stop people's careers over how they did it. Now, I understand if someone did use AI and didn't claim it. Oh, what was that?
It's not even that issue. Okay, obviously,
Okay.
if I go type some keywords into a prompt, I'm not an artist. Okay, I can't claim to be an artist. I typed some keywords into a prompt.
No,
Now,
yeah.
because this is where it goes. If all the art that the AI apps were using was something that the artist allowed them to use, it would be
Yeah.
different. When they go scrape everybody's art off the internet and steal it and then make money off it, that's
It's
why
like the old days of sampling music.
yeah. I mean, that's why the artists get pissed. It's the same. Look, we're going to have this conversation tonight on the music show as well, and you're going to hear some musicians, some hip hop artists talking about AI. All right.
Right.
So, from the artist's point of view, and those are the people I represent, it sucks. It's like I don't represent AI. They're not paying me to go out here and try to talk these guys into letting them have their content. They're not even asking for their content. And that's where the evil steps in. You see what I'm saying?
Pops, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, if someone claims that what I'm saying, puts it in the, these people helped create this, and if they used AI in the process anywhere and claim it, do you still feel the same way about it, or is it
Yeah, I
just
just
the
won't
fact that
promote it.
AI was used at all?
I just won't promote it. That's all. Like I
Oh,
said, I
fair.
represent artists. I represent people that actually put in the work. Like I said, again, typing keywords into a prompt does not make me an artist.
No, I 100% agree. I think
I'm
that
not an artist, so if I'm going out there and trying to sell something that I created in an AI app,
yeah.
type some keywords into a prompt, that does not make me an artist. And if I tried to sell myself that way, that would make me a fraud.
Well, the point that I was trying to make wasn't necessarily that someone doing something 100% AI, but more about we were talking about people getting blackballed because they were accused of being AI,
Even
and
greater reason not to use it.
I just don't like the idea of having a thing that stops someone in the industry from creating. I don't know. I just don't like the stop of the flow of creativity. And I think that if someone makes a mistake, it shouldn't end their career, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Look, now the whole
I
thing
love
is, if they're using crowdfunding, then they can make the funds to pay an artist.
it. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
they don't have to use no AI if they're using crowdfunding. If they're creating something that's partially AI or whatever, or they're passing an AI idea onto an artist, and the artist is doing the sequentials, which we know AI can't do yet very well. There's certain, there's like you can flag an AI book. You can tell if it
Right.
was designed with AI or not. Okay, because AI just isn't that good at sequentials and angles and the things
Yeah.
really needed to make a good comic book. They're gonna get there. It's gonna get there, and then it's gonna really suck when it actually gets to the point where you can't tell.
I don't think we're that far away. I think we're about a year or two away. So
See, and that's
It's
why I
changing
surround
fast.
myself with the actual artists and I promote the work that the actual artists are doing.
but
That's
that's why I said I was the kid that I loved you got the original 11 by 14 pencils and inks. And that was something that was just unbelievably really cool. So, I hate that. I don't mind people using AI. What I don't, I agree with Jonathan where he was going to, I don't like careers lose that are lost over if you didn't really use AI. Les didn't use AI,
no, he
and
did.
I,
He just
thank
got
goodness that you helped him out and everybody else got around and supported him. The guy that I was talking about, I don't know if he used AI or not on those pieces. On my piece, I know he didn't. I like the pure traditional. I love art. I'm into the art, and I appreciate it. It's something that I tell you, if you go to cons and you see me at cons, I'm the guy that's walking to all the tables, talking to all the different artists. I'm actually analyzing what they do, how they do it. I get into that part. That's the geek part of me that loves the beauty of it. That's why when you look at like a Jay Lee cover, or you have actually an homage. I've got Keith Williams covered there. He does the Warlock Chronicles. That's right there, sitting on the screen as well. It's going after Tom. He was the inker for Tom Rainey, and his job was, hey, I'm going to draw this just like Tom Rainey did, and I inked it for him, and I'm going to make it look really cool. I love that. That's artistic talent. That's something that I can't do. When I can draw my own comic via using AI, that's a problem.
Yeah. You said something about walking. I'm gonna be walking the floor at Grand Rapids on Saturday, and I have a blast, man. I talk to people, I interview people, but it's dude, you're not gonna see an AI guy at a Comic Con. Okay, you're never gonna see an AI guy at a Comic
Because they're
Con.
making their money sitting there drawing.
Your prints. Remember back in the day? I can tell you the evolution of my art. Okay, it went from people would send me prints and stuff, right? Signed prints, and I'd put them on my wall, and they looked all good. And then I started getting real art, and the prints started coming down, and the real art started going up. You see what I'm saying? And to me, AI is like prints. I'm not putting that on my wall. I have real art on my wall. You see what I'm saying?
I'm the same way. I feel the exact same way.
I mean, and yeah, Les, our boy Les, that was a while ago. We actually did a show on it, where we went back and showed the actual piece they were talking about, him working on it live. And it was like, it's tiring. Okay. It's bad enough that there's AI out there that is actual stolen. I mean, somebody say, give me something in Jim Lee style. What are they getting? A whole bunch of a mash up of Jim Lee's art, right? They're not. It's like they don't even have to work to get it. They don't have to ask him, commission him, nothing. A little stupid ass app will give it to him. I don't like that because that dude doesn't deserve to have his art just like plagiarized. Let's call it what it is. AI is plagiarizing other people's stuff, man, basically.
And I get to brag that I actually have that cover from Jay Lee, by the way. That'll be going on my wall very, very soon. I'm going to take it on the circuit and show it at shows and stuff like that. But it's going to be frame. It's a piece I'm actually not going to sell. I'm going to frame it since it's kind of the flagship book. But I believe in the art. I love art. I think art is what pulls you in. Some of these guys work their butts off like you wouldn't believe. Jay Lee's a great example. He's always working and hustling and stuff like that. There's just artists that are out there that deserve that kind of recognition because of not only what they turn out, but they do work very, very hard, and they're great. They've got that talent. And so I give a shout out to those guys that do that. And they're awesome. They're amazing. So.
Oz the Emerald Nightmare.
I don't know if you're seeing our chat here, Rick, but Moonblade character is getting some love in the chat.
Yeah, I think
Is that from Paradox, or is that another book that you got?
Well, that's a plant. I'm going to go ahead and out that guy anyway, because I saw that's actually the writer of Moonblade trying to steal some of my time and attention. But
sorry.
I'll let him get away with that a little bit. But that's actually my cousin who is actually part of this, and Moonblade is his character. But I'm not going to talk too much more about it because of.
See, there's another one. There is no such thing as an AI detection tool. There's no such thing. It just doesn't work. Okay.
Well, that's why I said I ran the Mona Lisa. I took a picture of the Mona Lisa, ran it through one of the ones that was very popular. Came up 67% that it was fake. You know?
It's probably because the Mona Lisa was the art that the AI keeps copying. You know,
Hey, Pops, you said you sent me a message that said if I wanted to share any art. Can I?
Yeah.
I'd love to share some art with some people of our. I know I'm changing the topic a little bit, but since we're talking about art and how hard people work, but I don't know how to drop it on the streamline.
Right down below where it says present, at the bottom of the screen.
I see it.
Hit that. It should give you a drop down menu. You should get share screen, and then you can show us whatever's on your screen. It'll give you a menu, and you can click the tab you want to show.
I'll show some things if you care that we've got coming out, and I'm pretty excited. I think you guys will find this neat. I'm not like horrible. Let's see. So can you see that?
It hasn't got here yet.
I can.
You can, Jonathan?
No, not yet.
You have to make sure you click all the right buttons.
Let's see. Image file. There we go. Can you see my screen now?
No.
Nope. Not yet.
Well, maybe I'm doing something wrong then. I was hoping to show some really cool things that actually nobody has actually got to see yet, but I'm willing to start releasing them and letting people know what's going on.
Okay. You click on present. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, we got you now.
Oh, now I know how to do it. Okay. A little slow.
Yeah.
It always takes my Starlink. I come in later than you guys because I'm all the way in Mexico. This is beautiful.
Mexico,
I'm out in Baja.
Awesome.
I'm actually in a home right now that Humphrey Bogart built. It's kind of cool.
Well, I think we should have done it all there then.
Maybe sometime I'll get you guys out here. This piece is gorgeous. Who did this?
So if you're looking at the very first piece, that is actually Eric Treadaway, the one that worked for McFarlane Toys and owns the Four Horsemen. Mm-hmm. So that is his piece.
I while you brought up Eric, I have to ask. We have a show on Monday nights called It's Frickin' Figures, and it covers the action figure world. I'd love to maybe get a chance to get Eric to come on the show. Man, they have guest appearances all the time of designers and stuff. It'd be awesome. That's what this networking thing is all about. See, Les, to you, you see, you just keep bouncing around off people. That's what you got to do, right?
I agree. I agree. And I have actually no problem. Eric and I have been very good friends for a very long time, by the way. It's not that Les and I became friends through this process. Eric and I were friends a long time before that. So I absolutely have no issue or qualms to ask him whatsoever. I was going to say one thing about this piece, though, since you asked. There's a funny story about this. So I'm showing this to a guy who owns a very adult oriented comic book one day. And he looks at this. He's like, yeah, he's like, that's not impressive at all. He's like, I guess if you find like a group of people that like Mediterranean comic books. And Brad and I are looking at each other's like, what are you talking about? Mediterranean comic books? Because if you look, this goes back to the Jay Lee thing. There is so much going on in this piece of art. If you look at it, you've missed everything. This guy has created a scene like, and somebody just told me the other day, I was like, I didn't even realize there was cats in there. He's got a cat on his lap. By the way, for those that might be curious, that's actually Cain of Cain and Abel that's sitting there with a cat in his lap. And like, I've never even noticed that. People that have actually looked at this multiple times is like, that's the point. There's a lot going on in the story and in the art. If you don't catch it, it's okay, but there's reasons why that stuff is there. It's very specific. For example, Deceit, she wears earrings. Since you're showing that piece, they're snake earrings. Well, why are they snake earrings? She's the first serpent in the garden. Little things like that. If you don't catch it, it's not the worst thing in the world, but there's reasons why it's all there. But I love this.
I also see that he's drinking alcohol and they're drinking either coffee or tea.
That is true. That is true. Or actually, it looks exactly like if I wrote the word loud on it, I can make it your mug.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the point. Like I said, there's so much other stuff going on. So Eric did this, and I don't know if you can see the other pieces that I sent you.
Oh yeah, I got them all.
So that's Les. He did a little bit different take on Deceit and Cain. So that's one of his versions of it. That's all from the very first issue. I like how he did it. He made Deceit a little bit more of a punker girl, whereas if you were at the other scene before, she was a little bit more regal and stuff like that. But he wanted to run and make her a little bit different. Once again, these are all images from issue 1, actually. If you want to look at the next one, a good scene. This actually references back to the garden. The dialogue will explain this very, very well. And actually, the rock that's in his hand plays the most pivotal point of the whole story. I won't say much more than that because it gives it all away. But
no spoilers.
This is so gorgeous.
Dude,
this scene right here is the reason this scene is so important. This is how basically issue 1 kind of ends for the storyline, but that's Order. And she's talking to War. And this is the foreshadowing that she actually controls the 4 horsemen. And you don't know it till later on that it actually comes out. That's like one of those tricks, one part of the journey. But lots of good dialogue is here. This is actually where you see that Order has actually changed a lot.
We are going to go back to real art. Okay, you see these bookshelves? You see books, feathers, things like that. It's major repetitive drawing, but you have to make it look different. Every shelf has to look different with the height of the books and the color of the books and the
which way they lay.
Everything. Every shelf has to look different. That's work, guys.
It is.
That's real work. Okay. I know artists that like Les. I hate to draw horses. What about libraries, bro? You like drawing libraries?
Yeah, that is a lot of work in there. A lot of work.
You look at things like the floor too. There's a better example too. You got the floor like where Order is standing on. If you notice, he changes the grain in the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the carpet, it changes the grain and how that's laid out there as well. Once again,
it's just shelves. It's columned shelves. It's all the detail across the top, and you got the candles and the flames, and that center panel looking down from above on the characters.
Beautiful perspective.
Dude, come on, man. This is real art. Guys, you're not going to get this from AI for a few more years yet, and then it's still going to suck.
But then it goes back to what I was saying originally, Pops. I want the original piece. I want to look at it. That's the part that I enjoy. I'm the geek about that part. I want to frame it and hang it and talk about it. There's actually a piece by Les that I think is actually the greatest piece. It's in my. I will go ahead and share it with you guys. It is the best piece I think he's ever done. Curious if you guys will think the same thing. Les, when he sent it to me, he's like, "You like that?" I'm like, "Les, you got it. This is the most beautiful piece I've ever seen." Like I said, I'm kind of excited. He'll get mad because I won't let him share it with anybody else, and then I'm going to take his thunder. But it's what the scene means here.
Hold up. Is this like a Madness exclusive?
This would be a Madness exclusive. Nobody has seen this. Les has begged me to be able to show this to people.
We're scooping right here, people. I hope you're watching because nobody's ever seen this before.
And it's the piece I told Les that I will buy no matter what because I love this piece. And I said, you hit it to where the artist, and this is why I say artists are so important. I want the artist to tell the story. And when they don't tell the story, I feel like I've kind of lost. And when an artist tells a story and it backs up your story, it's amazing. This panel that I just sent, I don't know if you have it yet or not, but it's up there loaded, is it. You don't need to know what's going on. You don't need to know the words. I promise you, whatever you think in your head, you're probably about 75% correct. And that's when the artist, and you see Kane's fallen paradox through the hallways, and they're deep, dark hallways, and they're lots of desolation. And it's like, they're going somewhere very drastically different because we have religious icons on the left, but then all of a sudden very hellish brimstone on the right. And it's actually, to be such a simple piece, it's a beautiful piece. And it has the detail in it. And when Les sent this to me, he's like, yeah, this one's going up on a wall. This piece will never, ever be sold because I know what's going on in this story. I know where this page goes. And when people read it, they'll look at this page. There's actually no words on this page. The words are before this page and the words are after the page. I took all the words off. And he's like, why aren't the word bubbles gone? I'm like, because Les, you captured it. I want to take my words off because I ruined the page at that point. That's when you know an artist is amazing, when it's like, I've got to take my words off because it now doesn't do it justice anymore.
Because the art tells the story better. Yes,
exactly.
Stacy wants to know, how long does art like this take to do?
So here's the thing about Les. We talk about Les. Les is much faster than most people. He's like I call him the Jack Kirby of modern comics. Now Les he'll tell you on certain pages like this, he'll spend a lot more time. I've seen Les knock out pages like this in a couple of hours. This one I think took him a lot longer. Most artists to do something like this, no matter how big or small they are, this is a 2-3 day kind of, opus, if you will, as they're trying to put it together. But Les does it fast. He can do 4 or 5 pages a day. Most artists try to do 1, maybe 2 pages. But
dude, Les killed it. But Les is a worker, He's
a workaholic.
Yeah, he is a worker. He don't want to quit,
No.
And I get that because me, I'm out here in the morning, I'm out here at night, I'm out here in the middle of the night.
A brag about who we've got on this comic too that I haven't even mentioned. I've actually, the colorist we have is the colorist that does like a lot of Redstonia and stuff like that. And his name is Omi. Talk about a guy that can really pull stuff out and make it look amazing. He actually takes Les's work and unbelievably captures it, makes it awesome. So,
do you like it, Brock? Well, look at it. Do you like it? What? Do you like the art, dude? That's all?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can share one more that will actually make Les mad.
Now he's excited. There was one we didn't show still that you had.
That's a page that goes back to. Eric.
I was going to get him with that one. I knew it.
So that's an Eric Treadaway piece that he did for the book. Cain, Abel, the Imps. Beautiful piece. That's actually Annie Christian that is actually standing up. So kind of a cool piece, but that's an Eric piece that he did really, really well on that love. Let's see.
Okay, Brock.
One thing I've noticed from all this art that you're showing from Les, I just want to point out, you were talking about the artist telling the story, but there's also a lot of movement. Like, I love it when you can, like this, like I'm looking at a static image, but yet it feels like a movie because you're seeing the movement through the page. Even the way of the angles of the floor change in each frame. It is masterful. That's definitely.
I think that is one. You hit it exactly right, and once again, that's when you know an artist is just really talented and can do what they need to do. And like I said, I took my words off the page, and that's like, well, there's no more words on it anymore. It's like, yeah, there didn't need to be now. I mean, it does what it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, and I was going to add one more for you. Oh, there it is. I think you got it. One of Les's favorite pages. Once again, he will get very angry if you tell him that I showed this because I won't let him show it to anybody else. But this is the 4 horsemen fighting the 4 horsemen of harmony. And he loves this page. I actually love this page too. But this is where the horse comment comes from. He's like, if you make me draw one more horse, Rick, I'm going to kill you. He's like, I can draw horses, but they're killing me. And it's like, Les, the whole Oz story is going to have nothing but horses every page now.
So would you tell him you're going to write a whole book that's about a horse?
Yeah, it's going to be it's called The Horse of Another Color, and it's going to be 32 pages of horses.
Should just do people with horse heads, just make it simple.
Oh, it drives him nuts. It's the funniest thing. He's like, he cusses at me like you would not believe. So
yeah.
I'm not a like professional drawer at all, but I do my art and draw to get to artist. And I'll tell you, man, my horses look like 3rd grade drew them. They are difficult.
Well, actually, Les draws horses really well, and he'll actually tell you, he's like, I can draw them. I draw them well. It's just, I think he hates to draw them. So.
The funny thing is when you're first starting, because I can remember when I was a kid drawing, and a horse is something that if you couldn't draw a horse for the chicks, right? Because chicks love the horses. If you couldn't draw one, they knew it, and your art didn't matter if you couldn't draw a horse. If you couldn't draw the unicorn, if you couldn't draw the Pegasus, if you couldn't draw the horse, your art didn't matter to the girls. They wanted the stuff they wanted, and if you couldn't draw it,
you were out the door. Is that what you're saying?
That's why he's good at horses. That's why.
Well, he did just get married last year, so this may be the secret.
Yeah, I know. He does complain about drawing horses. This is why we love our network. I mean, everybody's gotten to know each other and knows about each other. And the more people share out what each other's doing, the bigger these things get, man. That's all we're trying to do. Get people seen. We're talking about Rick today, but look, we're still talking about Les, because he's badass. That's why. You can't.
This one is this, like I just said about movement, like this just goes back to it, where looking at the clouds, how the clouds and the paneling, the panels, like it's like the clouds are carrying the panels, showing you where to go, and he is really, really talented.
He is. I'm very happy. Like I said, Paradox. I hope people pick it up. I hope people look through it. The art's amazing. I hope they love the story. I sent you one more image that Eric actually did of the four horsemen too, but
Okay, I got to comment on this real quick. It's not men and women. It's teenagers. When we were in school and we drew, the girls didn't look at the guys who could draw if they couldn't draw certain things. They just didn't care. A lot of guys who could draw would score a good chick because they could draw really good. The stuff the girl wanted, flowers and right? The stuff that girls wanted to see drawn, they were really good at drawing that stuff. So they had a really hot chick to take to the prom. You know,
see,
they
Paul,
were
I had to write poetry because I couldn't draw. So
you see, or you had to be in drama class up on stage doing a part, right? That's how, you know, it's like, otherwise, if you weren't the jock, you know, if you weren't the captain of the football team, if you weren't, you know, the guy hitting all the home runs, whatever, you had to have some way to get the girls' attention. The guys who could draw had it made. The guys who could draw had it made. You know, all I had to do was draw them a little picture, and they're like, oh, like singers. Same thing, singers. They all the girls are about the singer. They didn't do that about the drummer. They didn't do that about the bass player.
I wrote you a song. That's all it took.
Yeah.
That too, yeah.
You know, I got offered a tattoo internship once, and I got really excited. I was like, you know, because I do a lot of stenciling in the art I do, which is spray paint, and stenciling tattoo, very very similar. And the artist, he's like, yeah, like I like what you're doing. He's like, I'd like to take you on as apprentice. I was like, that's amazing. He's like, go home and draw me 100 flowers. On like 100, like on each different pages, like flowers, vases with flowers, like just do 100 flowers and bring it back to me, and we'll start this next step. And that was like, that's it. I was like, no, we're
It
good.
was like wax on, wax off.
Yeah, I'll keep doing spray paint, man. We're good.
Now, see, I like the death horses too, the dire horses or whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is a piece by Eric Treadaway that he did. That's actually going to appear in. This is a sneak peek from issue 3. That's why I said you've got this shot and the next shot are from issue 3 that nobody has seen hardly at all. So I dig the piece. I dig how Eric did it. It's just a cool piece, I think. So
I am definitely stoked to see this book. Not gonna lie, it's this art's second to none.
Oh, I like I said, whether it's Eric that did it or whether it's Les, I'm hoping it gets people to open it up and they're like, man, I love the art. Let me look and see if this is a little bit deeper. They read it and it's like, oh wow, this stuff is going a little bit deep direction. I got to think about it. And like I said, if you miss it, it's not the end of the world. The story still goes on, but the people that love the Easter eggs or try to figure out what else is going on, they'll get a great appreciation for it. That, or at least that's my hope. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. But I do love this piece. Eric did a awesome, phenomenal piece. This is a piece that nobody's ever seen that Eric has done. Eric, ironically, didn't even know I was going to run this piece because this is how artists are. He's like, this is a throwaway piece. I went, what? He's like, yeah, this is a throwaway piece. I don't know anybody ever see this is crap. And I went, really? And I'm like, this is not crap to me. This is beautiful. So
that's funny. Lou says she didn't need anyone to draw her stuff. Lou, when I was in high school, girls didn't draw. They were cheerleading, they were in the drama class, they were in home ec, but they weren't in art. It's weird, but they weren't.
Man, my daughter's been an artist since she was, you know, I mean, I raised her, and so we were always drawing together, but she's a real artist. I'm a sketcher. I just sketch, you know, and get things done. Holy, look at the color on that.
My granddaughter's 13, and she's a fucking way better artist than I am, dude. She can.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I think my daughter's going to end up doing tattoos. That seems to be the direction she's heading. This is gorgeous. Is this Les?
That's actually Eric's piece right there.
That's Eric
I have to
too.
ask, who did the coloring? Because the coloring on that, it pops, dude. I mean, that is almost 3D. Like, it's
He goes by the name Omi. He's really good. He really is.
Cool.
Yeah, I
yeah,
love the piece and how that pops out.
yeah,
That
it's depth. It's got depth.
and that's what we're hoping for the whole Oz series is going to be like this. The whole Paradox series is like this. That's why I tell Les and everybody not to share a lot of the art because I don't want people to figure out certain parts of the story. But you just look at some of this, and I'm trying to promote as like, hey, look what you're going to actually get to see. This is some beautiful stuff that it doesn't look like crap. And I know that everybody says that about things that they're putting together, but no, we've all worked very hard on this. Artists, writers, letters, colorists. We're trying to make this as cool as possible and give people a true product when they see it and say, "Hey, I'm glad I got that," and that's the goal.
I mean, it truly looks like a masterpiece. You've definitely put together an amazing team, to create some amazing art, man. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because that was one of my goals. I wanted to pull people that were really committed that I thought that were good enough to do it. This is when we write or we do stuff, it becomes our legacy. It's what's left afterwards. And it's like, well, this is going to be left afterwards. I want people to sit there and say, hey, that was some really cool crap. So I want to see some more of it.
I have such a hard time with that. Being who I am and the way I talk and everything, and it's like I'll say, "Man, that shit's badass," and I gotta quit saying that shit, right? I have to because it's not shit, and I really have to train myself to quit doing that because that stuff is badass. You see, it's not that hard to switch it up, and it's like I don't ever want somebody to be offended thinking I'm calling their beautiful art shit.
Yeah, and it's just that's a generational thing too, because what my daughter says things all the time. I'm like, that seems like that's a bad thing to say. She's like, no, that's really good. She's like, Dad, do you want to know the tea on people? No, I don't want to. What are you talking about? She explains these things to me, and I'm like, I guess this is what I sounded like when I was a kid. So
yeah,
no, I truly believe. I truly believe Gen Z has created a Tower of Babel situation. Like my daughter told me, the definition of skibbity is either really good or really bad. And then they make the joint of skibbity toilet. So it's either a really good toilet or a really bad toilet. You don't know what you're talking about. No one does, but the kids seem to pretend like they know what the words mean.
No, my grandson hit
We're
me
going to
with
be
that
in caves in 10 years. All I'm saying.
My grandson hit me with that the other day. You skibbity, Grandpa, and
my son has started saying, and this could offend everybody on your show because I still don't understand it. The score of a game was 6-7. He started laughing when I said, "Hey, it's 6-7." He's like, you just don't understand what that means. I'm like, no, because the score is 6-7. That's what he's like. Oh man, you were just so out of it and stuff like that. And like,
what
whatever.
is it supposed to mean?
I had to Google it. It's something I don't know. One of your watchers will probably know, but it's I think a rapper used it in some kind of I don't know. I really don't remember. I looked it up because they just think it's the funniest thing when you say 6-7 or 6. I think it's 6-7 is how you have to say it. And I'm like, I don't know. The score was 6-7. What else am I going to say?
Yeah.
Exactly. Tower of Babel. Like
does
it really if no one understands what anyone's saying, things don't work.
This is something that the guys from REO Speedwagon said a long time ago on stage on a live album recording. Actually, the lead singer was talking to the lead guitarist. And the lead singer was like, dit, 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 diddly, dit. And then the guitar player went, and they had a conversation. And the singer explained to everybody that if you really want to talk, if you really want to get somebody to understand what you're saying, you have to speak to them in their own language. So he started speaking to the guitarist in guitar, and the guitarist responded in guitar. You see what I'm saying? It was an awesome set, a great song, but the whole thing, the bottom line is if you really want to know what someone's thinking, you got to speak to them in their own language.
But Pops, you didn't tell that whole story. He actually asked him if he could borrow $100,000 and didn't realize that's what he asked on guitar, and he had to pay him after the show.
That very well could be. It very well could be. I don't speak guitar, so I'm not sure what they were saying to each other. It sounded good on stage. Guys, we're about 90 minutes in. I got stuff to do. I got more shows. We got a network to run over here. Jonathan, you did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
I appreciate everyone here.
Yeah. Rick, look, got to get together with you. Hook me up with Eric so I can hook him up with Dustin so that they can go do their thing on their show and continue to promote people involved with what you're doing.
Appreciate that.
What I'm saying. So networking is what we do.
No, I appreciate that. Pops, anything else I can do for you all, let me know. Thank you all for letting me be on the show today. Appreciate it. Hope people check us out. Jonathan, great to meet you. I had fun. I enjoyed the whole thing. So awesome job you all are doing.
Thank you.
Cannot wait to see the final product, man. Y'all are literally creating the Mona Lisa right now, you know. And who cares what the AI tester
says? Just don't run it through an AI generator.
It's all original. It's all our stuff. So
yeah, it's all good. Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate you on all those platforms: Pilled, Rumble, X, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all of you. But eventually, we're just going to have to go to Roku, people. We're just going to have to.
Let's go.
The natural evolution of this doesn't stop where we are now. So check us out. Go buy some merch. We got plenty of merch on the meg.tv. You can go buy merch. When you buy merch, it helps us get closer to that goal of getting our Roku channel up and running. So, you know, we got sponsorships, all kinds of stuff. We help people out as much as we can. You know what we do, man. It's all about the madness, right? We have a couple more ads to play. I think I didn't play them all. So on the way out, I will finish up with our wonderful sponsors. Jonathan, I will see you next Thursday. Rick.
I absolutely can't wait to play Slaughterville, guys.
Rick, I will definitely be talking to you soon.
Appreciate that, Bob.
You know, I'll definitely be in touch because people are already knocking on the door. Oh, talk to these guys. See?
Thanks. I appreciate that.
We will definitely get you out there and get you seen, man. That's my job. Everybody, you have a great day. We will see you at 7 p.m. with the ID show, and they also will be ripping AI. That's what we do. What can I tell you? We just don't like it. Peace, everybody. Let's see. I think I got one of Zaf's ads here somewhere. Oh, it might not be in this studio. Dang it. Oh, well, I'll have to add it. We got other stuff, though. Check it out. Peace, everybody.
In the heart of a major city, in a place raised to honor Earth's past protectors, the world will again learn, sometimes, superpowered intrigue doesn't stop at the grave. Galaxy Memorial Park, Volume 1, beginning crowdfunding Memorial Day 2025.
YouTube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe.